The winding country lanes of North Yorkshire had always held a particular charm for Mark. He loved the way the ancient dry stone walls snaked across the rolling fells, the isolated farmhouses nestled in verdant valleys, the sheer timelessness of it all. It was a place where time seemed to slow, where the land itself hummed with a quiet, ancient energy. He often drove through these parts, seeking that very stillness, that escape from the relentless pace of modern life. It was late afternoon, the light already softening to a deep gold that painted the hillsides in hues of amber and rust when he saw it. Not directly through the windscreen at first, but in his peripheral vision, a flicker of profound blackness by the roadside. He slowed, instinctively, his foot easing off the accelerator. As his car drew level and then slowly passed, he turned his head fully, his gaze drawn by an inexplicable pull. And there it was, looming, silent, utterly still. It was immense, a creature of shadow and myth made flesh. Its fur, if it was fur, seemed to absorb the fading light, creating an absolute void against the vibrant green of the verge. It was unmistakably a dog, but unlike any Mark had ever seen. Its head was massive, its form powerfully built, suggesting a primal strength. But it was its eyes that truly held him captive. They weren't just red, they glowed, a pulsating, malevolent crimson that locked onto his gaze with an unnerving intensity. There was no aggression in the stare, no hint of impending movement, just an unblinking, unnerving observation. A cold dread, sharp and sudden, pricked at Mark. He accelerated, a sudden, almost involuntary surge of adrenaline prompting him to put distance between himself and the spectral beast. He gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white, and told himself it was an illusion, a trick of the light, a stray thought manifesting from the fatigue of a long drive. Perhaps it was a large, unusually dark dog, and the fading light had simply distorted its eyes. He tried to rationalize it away, to force the image from his mind, but those burning red eyes were seared into his memory. Later that evening, in a snug little pub in a village whose name he'd already forgotten, Mark found himself nursing a pint of ale, the image still replaying in his mind like a silent, terrifying film. He tried to shake it off, to engage in the gentle pub chatter around him, but the intensity of those eyes, it lingered. The memory felt too vivid, too real, to simply dismiss as a hallucination. He leaned across the worn wooden bar towards the elderly publican whose face was a roadmap of the Dales, etched with years of wind and sun. "Excuse me," Mark began, his voice a little too casual, a touch of embarrassment coloring his tone. "I know this sounds odd, but I think I saw the biggest dog of my life today, out on the moors, just off the road, huge, and, well, its eyes were very red, glowing almost." The publican simply nodded, a slow, deliberate movement that somehow conveyed a deep, unspoken understanding. "Aye," he rumbled, his voice like stones tumbling in a riverbed. "You'd be talking about Black Shuck then." Mark felt a chill run down his spine, a sensation that had nothing to do with the cool evening air. "Black Shuck," he repeated, the name echoing eerily in the quiet pub. A man sitting nearby, hunched over his own pint, chuckled without humor. "Black Shuck, indeed. Seen him myself once or twice when I was a lad. Not something you forget, is it? Old legends, you see, they have a way of making themselves known around here." The publican elaborated, his gaze fixed on some distant point beyond the bar. "A spectral hound, they say, been roaming these parts for centuries. A harbinger of ill fortune, some believe, or just a guardian, an ancient spirit of the land. Appears on desolate roads, his eyes burning like embers. If you meet his gaze, some say it's a warning, others say it means something far worse." Mark listened, the ale growing cold in his hand. The rational part of his mind, the part that had always prided itself on logic and reason, was struggling to reconcile what he was hearing with what he had seen. But the sheer conviction in the voices of these locals, combined with the visceral memory of those eyes, chipped away at his disbelief. This wasn't just a story, it felt like a living, breathing part of this ancient landscape. He paid for his pint, a sense of profound unease settling deep within him. Sleep, when it finally came that night in his small B&B room, was restless and shallow. And then the dream began. He found himself in a vast, echoing house, the kind with long corridors and countless doors, all closed. The air was heavy, still, and charged with an unseen presence. He moved through the silent halls, a growing sense of dread tightening in his chest. Each door, he knew, held something. And then, from behind every single one, a low, guttural growl began to emanate. It wasn't just one growl, it was a symphony of them, a chorus of primal menace that vibrated through the floorboards, through his very bones. He didn't see the creature, not yet, but he knew it was there, multiplied, waiting. The air grew thicker, heavy with an unseen presence, the faint scent of damp earth and something acrid, metallic, prickling his nostrils. The growls grew louder, more insistent, pressing against the thin wood of the doors, a palpable threat. He could feel the weight of countless unseen eyes, those burning red eyes fixed upon him from the other side of every single barrier. He stood paralyzed, the growls building to an unbearable crescendo, the air around him thrumming with contained violence. He bolted up in bed, heart hammering against his ribs, the dream still clinging to him like a shroud. The early morning light, thin and gray through the curtains, felt fragile and unable to dispel the residue of that oppressive darkness. The growl, though silent now, echoed in the deeper chambers of his mind, a lingering vibration. Before that day, Mark had considered himself a pragmatist, grounded firmly in the observable world. He believed in what he could see, touch, and measure. But seeing Black Shuck, and then hearing the quiet, certain confirmation from the locals, had peeled back a layer of his reality, revealing something ancient and unknowable beneath. The world he now understood held mysteries far beyond human comprehension, shadows in the corners of our perception, waiting. And sometimes, just sometimes, those shadows gaze back. Mark's encounter with Black Shuck, the spectral hound of the moors, serves as a poignant reminder of how fragile our understanding of the world truly is. It speaks to the enduring power of folklore, to the way ancient stories can still reach out and touch us, even in our modern lives. Perhaps these tales are echoes of a forgotten time, or, just perhaps, they are glimpses into a truth that our rational minds struggle to grasp. What are your thoughts on encounters like Mark's? Have you ever had an experience that defied explanation, that made you question the boundaries of reality? I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. If this tale resonated with you, consider subscribing or following for more journeys into the mystical and the unexplained. Until next time, may your paths be clear and your dreams be peaceful.